Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Nat Walsh. Thanks for stopping by my channel yet again. We're going to, make a card. Today we're going to use this Imagine Magic by Sassy and Crafty. So my little printout has cut off a couple of bits and pieces, but that's how you're going to get it. You're going to get a digital image. We're going to use this memory box stars and some Stickles glitter gel. So I've got a little piece of press and seal on the top of that. This stuff is funky. You'll see me playing with it. It's just really, really weird. But we're going to be very, very selective on where we put things, because this is a digital image and it's got its little squiggly piece of hair. I didn't particularly want to cut it out or any of that, so we're going to do a rough mask. I'm going to curve off the edge of a little bit of a post-it note just so we can put it on his little face, and I will move that around a little bit later on. This gel, this is called Nebula. It has little stars, so I'm going to have a little bit of a play with it, and I'm trying to get my stars within my stars. Get my gist? So in the stencil, and I'm just pulling it up slightly just to see whether my star is in the holes or not. And I'm just putting a little bit here and a little bit there. Going to move him around a little bit, but he's literally going to sit on the edge of his nose, which is quite cute. I liked it. We're just going to fix up a little bit of a star that sort of pulled off a little bit funny. It's really hard to do this one-handed, as you can see. Put another couple of stars down the bottom. You see most of my stars pulled up then, so we're just going to move them around a little bit just to make sure they're through the hole so they stay on our projects. So this is part of Sassy and Crafty's June release. So this month's release is very mystical feel. It's got very, a few other ladies. There's another stamp set, Find Yourself, which has, a little bit of ladies with horns and antlers and things like that. We've got the Magic Within, which we've got a crystal, and we've also got a wild and free. But most of the release that I've seen is a little bit, well, okay. You've got Dino Raw, which of course is not mystical. But, it's not mythical creatures because they were around, but you know what I mean? Like old dinosaurs. You've got Never Grow Up, which is your fairies. So there's another mystical, the Imagine Magic that we're using, and Find Yourself and the Magic Within. So there's a few there that are on that sort of thing. This card, now this is sort of the next day, so it's all dry. We're going to do a little bit of a rainbow. Pretty much that's the only colors that we're really sort of going to use, but we're going to use 2 shades of each. So this is rather a bit of a bright rainbow. So I'm using RV29 and RV25. I'm using YR04 and YR02, which is what we're going back and forth with there. Going back up to our RVs, just to give it a little bit of blending and that sort of thing. We've got, I can't remember whether I said this, we got Y02 and YOO. And now we're having a little bit of a play with YG45 and YG41. That was a close call. I noticed my YG41, I think it was, no, 45, was extremely juicy, and it was actually about to drip onto my project, so saved by the bell. So quickly take off the other end of the chisel tip, the nib off the lid, I should say, off the chisel tip, and that equals out the power that equals out the power within the pen. Sorry, the ink pressure. That's the P word I was looking for, the ink pressure. Next, we've got BG05 and BG02, and then we're coming through and just doing V17 and V05. If you want to keep it very simple, you can just use either the darker ones or the lighter ones of this. But I wanted to still give the hair a little bit, just a tiny bit of texture. So just a little bit of texture. Wrong end that. So you can see there, I'm just sort of giving it little swishes, and then we'll go back through with our lighter color. I also make sure I flick upwards as well with my stamping, with my marker, to blend it into a little bit into the blue. And then we go back through with our blue and flick down into our purple and soften that edge. I'm going to go back through and just give it a little bit more texture. On the whole, these cards are really, technically it's really quite simple actually, because we've used a little bit of a stencil. These colors, we're not really going to introduce any more colors. We are going to bring in some sort of cool grays, and I'm umming and ahhing about what I'm going to do, but what I'm going to do here, like I was umming and ahhing about what I'm going to do with the horn, but what I decided basically he was going to be a rainbow, because we're going to start with the purple down the edge, and yeah, I still go through and add both colors to each color, so the darker and the lighter to both of each of the colors that I'm using, because I'm just a bit crazy like that, but you know, it's good fun. It's good fun. So in this way, we're going to have the purple at the base of at the top of his head sort of thing, the base of the horn, and red at the top. So it puts that little bit of definition into it. Going back through with our cool grey, so we've got CO3, CO1 and COO, because I still want him to look roughly like he is a white unicorn, because to me the unicorns are white. I don't know whether that's just in my head or not, but you know, we're just going to put a little bit of shading where his hair is and underneath him, so our light is at the top, because where things overlap, that is where you're going to get a little bit of shading. I've got a little tiny piece down there, colour him all up. There we go. Just fix up a couple of little areas where I got a bit too carried away. We're coming in with Paper Rose nesting rectangles. Voila. Now, I have this piece of white cardstock. Now I have trimmed it off. I trimmed it off camera because there was just not enough room. So we're going to use the same Copics again, but just like the darker colors, and that's pretty much it. And we're going to go around the edges. So we've got red, which is a red violet sort of thing, up the top. We're going to blend that in a little bit on the edges. I'm going to go back and forth, and I've just got a piece of scrap paper underneath it, just so I don't get my my mat coated with Copics. Orange, go back and forth with our red. Our yellow, same again. We're going to go back and forth and make sure that's all blended out a little bit, because clearly they're not blending too well there, but we'll make do. He'll be all right. And we're going to give the illusion that we've got some rainbow coloured mat in the background. Because he's all sparkly, he's all rainbow, he deserves something better than a plain piece of cardstock. So down below I will have a link of all the, I'll have a blog post, I will have a link to over to Sassy and Crafty where you can pick up this stamp set. The blog will have a list of all the Copics that I've used and including some other pictures. We're going to mount that up with a little bit of foam tape. I'm just going to make sure it's relatively even because it's still not easy to sometimes put it down straight for me, especially with this foam tape. I get this at Bunnings, which is I suppose it's like not Walmart, home what does Americans have, Home Depot. So that's my card. Take care, talk to you next time. Bye.